Good evening. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Brian Mastry.
And I'm Erin Sullivan. Let's get right into our top 6 headlines at 6.
This decision is not made lightly, but with respect for the institution, my colleagues, and the responsibility that accompanies the public service.
State Senator Dan McEwen resigned today just before a vote to expel him from the Nebraska legislature. We've just learned Governor Pillen will appoint a replacement to serve out the rest of his term. That will happen tomorrow afternoon.
The Supreme Court seems likely to uphold state laws banning transgender women from playing in women's sports in schools. 5 of the 6 conservative justices said state laws didn't violate Title IX or the Constitution.
Local casinos are trying to resurrect a proposal which would legalize sports betting from your phone in Nebraska. The casinos say the state is missing out on all sorts of revenue to Iowa, where mobile betting is legal. Anti-gambling activists worry easier access to betting could intensify addiction.
And they just thumb their nose at the system that they swore an oath to uphold.
Former President Bill Clinton and former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton refusing to testify in a House investigation of Jeffrey Epstein. Republican lawmakers say they will begin contempt of Congress hearings for the Clintons for refusing to comply with subpoenas.
Tonight, Iowa Governor Kim Reynolds will give her final Condition of the State address at the state capitol. We're streaming her speech live right now. You can find it at FirstAlert6.com.
Omaha's Henry Doorly Zoo and Aquarium opening what they call a game-changing new animal hospital. The new facility comes complete with 2 surgical rooms and the zoo's first CT scanner.